Welcome to The Explainer. So you've made the tough call to pivot your business. That's huge. But honestly, the really hard part often comes next. Today, we're building the playbook for what to do after that pivot to turn that big change into your next big win.
Right. You've ripped up the old map, you've pointed the ship in a new direction, and now you're left staring at this huge, kind of terrifying question, now what? We're going to tackle that head-on by turning all that uncertainty into a clear, 5-part plan that gives you and your team direction and, more importantly, momentum.
Here's the game plan we're going to walk through. We'll kick things off with the why behind your pivot, then we'll set a new North Star, make sure your goals line up, build out an action plan, and finally, figure out how to stay on course.
Okay, first things first. Before you can even think about moving forward, you have to be absolutely crystal clear about why you changed course. Let's really nail down the why behind your pivot, because trust me, every single decision you make from this point forward has to tie back to this.
And look, this isn't just some casual exercise you do on a whiteboard and forget. We're talking about creating a formal pivot rationale. This thing is your anchor. It's a clear, written summary that everyone on your team can look at. It spells out exactly why you left the old path and what you're hoping to achieve on this new one.
What's so powerful about this is how it forces you to be simple. You have to boil down your entire pivot into just 3 core ideas: the real reason you changed, the specific insight that sparked it, and what success actually looks like now. I mean, think about Slack. Their rationale was simple. The internal chat tool they built for their gaming company was way more valuable than the game itself. That kind of clarity is what fuels every good decision that comes after.
All right, with that foundation locked in, now we get to look forward. In this next section, we're going to define exactly where you're headed. It's time to set your new North Star by mapping out both the immediate steps and the ultimate destination.
You know, a successful pivot means you have to think on 2 different timelines at the same time. For the short term, say the next year, it's all about getting traction, proving the new idea works, and just staying stable. But at the same time, you've got to keep an eye on that long-term prize, which is all about real growth and becoming a leader in your new space.
So in that first year, your goals have got to be about building real, tangible momentum. We're talking about shipping that first version of your new product, getting your first 100 users in the door, making that very first dollar of revenue, and hiring the people you absolutely need for this new direction. It's all about proving the concept.
Now, your long-term goals, that's where you shift gears. This is about moving from just surviving the pivot to actually thriving because of it. You start focusing on the big stuff, like expanding into new markets, becoming truly profitable, and building a brand that everyone recognizes as a leader.
Okay, so now you've got a list of some pretty exciting goals, but this is where the critical gut check comes in. How do you know for sure that every goal you just wrote down actually supports your new strategy and isn't just some leftover habit from the old way of doing things?
Think of this 4-step process as your filter. You run every single goal through it. Does it support the new model? Does it get you closer to your pivot's objective? And is it a priority right now? This forces you to link every single thing you do back to that rationale we talked about, and it cuts out all the noise.
With a list of goals that are prioritized and aligned, it's time to get tactical. This section is all about creating the practical, on-the-ground blueprint to make it all happen. This is where the high-level strategy actually meets the real world.
The first thing you do is lay it all out on a timeline, just like this. When you break down the next year quarter by quarter, that big, scary vision suddenly feels a lot more manageable. It gives you a clear sequence of events and tells you exactly what done looks like at each step.
And let's be real, a plan is just a piece of paper without the resources to make it happen. So before you do anything else, you have to get brutally honest about what you're going to need. Who do you need to hire? What tech do you need? How much is this all going to cost? Answering these questions now saves you from hitting a wall later on.
And finally, you gotta plan for what could go wrong. Look, thinking about risks isn't being negative, it's being smart. It's what makes a strategy resilient. For every risk you can think of, figure out how likely it is, how bad it would be, and this is the most important part, what you're gonna do about it ahead of time.
Okay, last section. And this is so important. Your plan, it's not some ancient tablet carved in stone. It has to be a living, breathing document. You need a compass that helps you track where you are and make adjustments as you go.
You have to keep asking yourself this one simple question, over and over again. Is this thing actually working? Are we making the progress we thought we would? To answer that, you need a lot more than just a gut feeling. You need a system.
So you build a system, and it has to be intentional. It's like building the dashboard for your ship, right? You define the key numbers that matter, you set up a regular time to check in on them, and you make it clear who's responsible for what. This is what lets you actively steer based on real data, instead of just crossing your fingers and hoping you end up in the right place.
So when you boil it all down, this whole playbook, from your core reason for pivoting to how you track progress, it's all designed to get you to a confident, definite yes to this one single question. It's the ultimate test to make sure your pivot isn't just a random change of direction, but a real, solid step toward a much stronger future.